Hi everybody, my name's Charlie and I'm the owner of Charles MacArthur Coaching and Consulting. Welcome to another video resource for men seeking help with changing their behaviour. And this particular video is reaching out to all the partners of those men who may be going through troubled or dark times. Now you may be watching this evaluating your support for your partner to enrol in my online coaching program called Change Thinking 2020. Now at the moment, of course, everybody's situation is completely different. Some partners watching this may be experiencing domestic abuse in some form or another. Some will have partners dealing with the challenges of addiction, whilst other partners may be dealing with their loved one simply having a loss of self-worth, who have lost their drive and motivation to be their best. Many of the men that I also assist are just going through dark times due to separation. My online coaching program called Change Thinking 2020 is particularly valuable for men going through separation, and I'll tell you why. Some men become very bitter and resentful after a marriage breakdown if left to their own devices to overthink things. When they've got no support or guidance from somebody that they've got any kind of rapport, trust or respect with. Let's face it, separation, divorce is a difficult thing at the best of times, and it's probably occurred because one person or both are not happy. And if we could just wave a magic wand, I'm sure most people would like to eventually end up in a place where both they and their ex-partner are happy. And when I say happy, this usually only occurs with the passing of time, when there's been enough time to heal so they can look back with fondness of the good times, but also have some perspective to realise that the separation that occurred was a good thing, because both parties involved went on to a new life that's now working better for both of them. That would be the best possible result from a separation, right? This is where a good coach is so effective when it comes to working with men. My skills as a coach require me to be extremely flexible in how I get the mind to open up enough for a new message to get through. So how I use language and the words that I use also include my ability to use words in such a way that get results. Sometimes those words can be confronting to some men who do need to be challenged, at times to pull their head in and look at things from another perspective. And that only happens when there's mutual respect. However, the men who I am coaching, they start to understand that there is a mutual respect and they start to get it. They start to understand that where I'm coming from, and they start to see that my intentions are good with their best interests at heart. And they start to sense that they've now got around them a voice of reason, a sounding board. And they can start to see a better way to approach a problem. And when they start to realise that there are other options available to them, options that were always there, that were only being hidden by some kind of limiting belief, well, by that point we're almost halfway, probably more than halfway there. Some men on my program are seeking change of thinking in regards to making better decisions. Decisions about the next time they're going to go and see their dealer or visit the bottle shop. Substance abuse, alcoholism, or any kind of addiction for that matter, including that of gambling, is all about the alignment between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Now, as a qualified master practitioner of conscious hypnosis, I understand how men can have the voice of the little angel on one side and then have the little devil on the other. And of course, the internal dialogue that occurs. My online coaching program called Change Thinking 2020 does have a large component of the course using concepts from hypnosis. And within the Change Thinking 2020 program, there are in fact 8 hypnotic inductions, one for each module of the program. Those hypnotic inductions include subjects such as accepting change, anger and stress release, confidence and positivity, to name a few. So men enrolled in the Change Thinking program who might be dealing with anger and depression, and there is a large group of men that get to unhealthy levels of anxiety. And they get to that place by spending too much time going through the land of overthinking. What a nasty and dangerous place that is, a place to be avoided. Men, well in fact anybody that enters the land of overthinking for an extended period of time, rarely ever return more organised in their thinking than when they left. So dealing with this bad habit of overthinking plays a big part of the Change Thinking 2020 program. Now, I'm very wary of speaking too collectively, given that everybody's situation is different. And not every man in my program would be classified as having behaviours of perpetrators of domestic abuse. But I do wish to acknowledge the men that have enrolled in my course are seeking change in some form or another. And they're leaders. They're certainly leaders of themselves, because they've decided to make a change for the better and to face their fears, to deal with those parts of themselves that are leading them in the opposite direction than the best version of themselves. Deciding to make a change for the better and to confront those things that are pulling them down, well, we applaud, and I respect those men who take action to address what it is that's stopping them from reaching their potential. Now, I also want to just say that if you are a victim of domestic abuse or domestic violence in some form, I certainly recommend strongly to seek advice and talk to the professional people that support people in your situation. I do also wish to acknowledge that it's not just men that are perpetrators of abuse. And I recommend the same advice to any male victims out there who are experiencing the same. And that is to seek advice from those support organisations. Now, I've personally been criticised by sections of the community who misunderstand what it is that I do. Their perception is that I'm something of a pro-feminist because with my advertising I reach out to men needing help. And they believe that my position is that it's always men that are the problem. And that's because I don't have a female version of my online coaching program called Change Thinking. And I'll tell you why that is. It's because I work with men. That's what I do. And that is what I decided would be most valuable based on the skills that I have. There are times with my clients that I need to be brutally blunt and in their face. And that's because what some men need. There are some blokes that could only work with a person who's got the inner resolve to call these guys out for their bullshit when and if the time comes. And the reason why I'm an effective coach with men is because in this space, I do call them out when required. And that only happens when I have had the opportunity to build some level of rapport and gain the respect of each of the type of clients that I've talked about in this video. It's by providing insight, and it's not just insight, it's because I show respect for my clients, what they're dealing with. And if I look sure of myself that I can gain their respect, well, that's because I am sure. Proven that time and time again. Coaches who work with men and influence men who have, let's say for want of a better word, haven't behaved their best, well, those coaches themselves require patience, understanding. At times they need to be thick-skinned and have resolve and a special dedication for their clients. Above all else, those coaches who work with men need to have belief in the clients that they're working with. So that can translate so they can have confidence in themselves. The skills I teach come from the fields of neuro-linguistic programming, otherwise more commonly known as NLP, and also from the field of hypnosis. And this is why my program can be very effective for those men caught up with the behaviours of domestic abuse, but also for other men facing a whole range of different other issues. This is not a program that's fully dedicated to resolving domestic abuse issues, because what I do is work with the nervous system of men and how to change and control certain types of thinking and how to learn to pay attention to what they're feeling. So let me share with you who is the most suitable to enrol in my Change Thinking 2020 program. And it's not the extreme cases. It's that smaller section of the male community who are at the point where they understand what they're doing is wrong. They understand the effects of what they're doing is wrong. They often display sorrow and remorse for their actions, and they have awareness of the issue. The second criteria I'm looking for before allowing an enrolment in my course is that the men that I coach are past the point of making justifications for their actions or blaming others. The men I'm trying to assist are the men who don't understand the how. They know the why. And the why is often because they understand that there's consequences if they don't change. But it's the question of how to go about it that they don't know the answer to. These are the guys that pretty much openly admit that they're disappointed with themselves and that they haven't lived up to their own potential. Now, as a partner of a man who needs to change, you will know if the man in your life has the potential or even the desire to make a full recovery if given the right skills, attitude and support. And you'll know as well that if you're just wishful thinking or if you're dreaming of an unrealistic turnaround. Of all the men who need to change, I would really prefer to be working with that small section of men who want to change. And you'll know if your partner genuinely wants to change. So if you fit into this group, I'm more than happy to discuss with you one-on-one on the phone your situation. And if you feel that I might be that person who could work with your partner or your ex-partner, well then call and we can discuss your individual situation. And if I agree that I think I could assist, well then we can discuss ways to introduce what I do and my program to your partner, which of course is something else that needs to be handled with care. If done the wrong way, or should it come across that you're pushing this onto them, well, you'll find that there's some real resistance. So the utmost of care is required. Okay, well I hope that has given you a better feel and understanding of what I'm all about and who specifically can benefit from an enrolment in Change Thinking 2020 program. I wish you all the best, and above anything else, look after yourself. Take care, that's all for today.